Yo, happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Thanks for tuning in to another week of Sunday Light, another episode, another Sunday. Sunday, April 12th, day 30, day 30 of 50. Man, man, here in Brooklyn, shout out to DK, Queen Brooklyn State. Shout out to all that love, Miss Juicy, and all the other many names that she got. She be multiple places with many monikers. Shout out to her. All of her iterations. Yeah, all that fly shit. But we're here, man. Sunday today. We're gonna ask a very important question: are we family or not? All right, to humanity, are we family or not? There's black people who say they love black people, who cause harm to black people. There's humans who say they love humans and they want world peace, and then they cause fucking pain and trauma to other humans. And it just begs the question: are we family or are we not family? Because if we family, why are we treat family this way? And if we're not family, why not? Why are we not family? Right? I understand that there are differences, there are cultural differences, there are religious differences, there are racial differences, there are food differences, lifestyle differences, but there are still so many more similarities than there are differences amongst all humans, amongst black people. And so it's just a question that I was asking myself last night as I was, preparing to rest. And this morning, the first thing that popped in my head, what's going on? There's been all around the world is wars and catastrophes and genocide still, and locally in various individual communities. In my community, right, is tragedies happening amongst people who look like each other, amongst people who live amongst each other, and it just begs the question: are we family or not? Are we one human family, or all black people family, or are we not? And so that's the question. Before we get into that, of course, we want to burn some sage, right? Get into a prayer. Happy Soulful Sunday, solid and soulful Sunday. We want to, it's definitely something heavy on my mind, on my heart, on my spirit on this Sunday morning. So TikTok, we're gonna pause this so we could light the sage. Remember TikTok, I would love to burn the sage and keep TikTok going forever, but TikTok said no smoke, no illusions of smoke in your live videos, or they ban you. My copper is getting caught in my shorts. Yeah, I think that's where that goes. But yeah, let's pause this TikTok. Let's do this prayer. Let's come back and let's get to it. So as we light the sage, clear this energy that is permeating our hearts, permeating our minds, our spirits, unclean energy, low vibrational energy. My prayer on this Sunday morning is that every person who hears these words and is connected to everyone who hears these words remembers that we are indeed the human family. There are many differences. There are many similarities. The main one being that we are all, in some way, shape, or form, receptive and desiring of love. My prayer is that every person who hears these words and is connected to everyone who hears these words remembers that even with all of the noticeable differences, language, gender, financial class, religion, culture, ethnicity, we all want the same thing in our family and our homes. We want our loved ones to make it home safely. We want to succeed relative to what that means to us. And we want to live. We want to live. My prayer on this Sunday is for every person who hears these words and is connected to everyone who hears these words, near and far. It's to begin again to see other humans as your brother, your sister, your distant cousin, uncle, aunt, niece, nephew, son, or daughter, and to cause no harm for the simple fact that they are you. My prayer is that every person who hears these words remembers that every person that they come across is indeed an extension of them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. My prayer that every person who hears these words and is connected to everyone who hears these words understands that conflicts will arise and that disagreements will happen, but they can always be handled amicably. They can always be handled peacefully. They can always be handled with compassion, grace, patience, and love. My prayer is that every person who hears these words and is connected to everyone who hears these words remembers that even if conflicts may seem so serious or you may be so upset to want to cause harm to someone else, remember that causing harm to someone else is indeed causing harm to you. Someone violates you, you harming them hurts you, changes the trajectory of your life, changes the trajectory of your children's lives and of your siblings' lives and of your parents' lives and of your spouse's life and of the friends and other community members who you may have love for. It changes their lives as well. I pray that every person who hears these words and is connected to everyone who hears these words has the discipline, the patience, and the tools to be calm in the face of adversity, to be calm when a storm arises inside of them or around them. My prayer is that every person who hears these words remembers to love themselves and to want for their brother and their sister what they want for themselves. My prayer is that every person who hears these words and is connected to everyone who hears these words remembers that all of us have a responsibility to put forward a positive message, to put out good energy so that it may permeate the ethos in the space that we occupy. My prayer on this Sunday is for every person who hears these words and is connected to every person who hears these words. Knows that this life, it only happens this way once. So enjoy it, live it, love self, love others. And be the change that you wish to see in the world. Amen. Ashe. Ashe, y'all. That is my prayer on this Sunday. Give thanks. Oh, snap. TikTok live cut off. The prayer was too long. The prayer was too long on TikTok, but we're going back live on TikTok. We are going back live. We are going back. We are going back. My apologies, TikTok. My prayer was too long. I apologize. I only got 5 minutes. That was 7 minutes. My apologies. But we back on TikTok. Listen, man, we are getting into it. Are we family or not? Are we family or not, man? So I've said it. I said it yesterday. Gonna name it again because what actually inspired this question. So I'm always thinking about this. I'm always thinking about the human family. I'm always thinking about us being whether we're blood relatives or not, right? Whether we share the same blood or not. Remembering that to some degree we all share the same blood, right? Near, far, same language, same ethnicity, quote unquote race, right? Creed, all of that stuff. We all share the same blood to some degree. All right. But what really sparked this was Friday. So a week and a half ago. So beloved of mine, a brother of mine from South Jamaica, Queens. His mother and my mother grew up together. They were childhood friends on the same block, right? South Side, back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, right? Then when I was born, him and I lived on the same block. A little older than me, right? A couple of years older than me. He's my sister's age, right? But a brother of mine, right? Especially because I went over there more. Like even when we moved from South Side, I was back at the crib more, at my grandfather's house, and he died. So he passed away of a heart attack while in prison in solitary confinement, right? And at his funeral Friday, a lot of people came out, right? They had a candlelight visual, right? Vigil the day before, and I saw photos and videos, and it was beautiful. And then at his funeral, Friday morning, afternoon, a lot of people at the funeral. And outside the funeral, one brother gets killed by another brother. All right, one of his friends got killed by another guy who folks say people know. Shot 6 times in broad daylight outside the church, outside of the funeral. Shot 6 times. Children across the street playing basketball. Elders, all types of people outside. Children right outside the church. People in the church still, but they started to file out. The limousine drivers in the limo waiting for the family to come out so he could take them back home. All right. Get ready for the repass. And this guy shoots him 6 times. And black guy killed the black guy. And it's like, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? Like, are we family or not? Right? And yeah, I would like to believe that at some point, both of those brothers have said that they love black people. Y'all love black people. Right? One of the brothers I know said it. Right? Again, they're a little older than me, but like, him. I seen a picture. I'm like, y'all know this guy. Seen this guy. I've sat with him. We've been in a dice game together, right? We've like, I was like, what are we doing? Right? How do you do a family like that? And then it goes to something that somebody would say, well, it's been happening since the beginning of time. And I heard a guy talk about it in a talk recently. He was like, yo, Cain killed Abel. It was 4 people. It was 4 people on the planet, right? Supposedly 4 people in the Garden of Eden, let's say, right? 4 people. And one of the people killed the other one. So he said, this guy killed a quarter of the people, right? A third of the people he knew he killed. It's like brothers have killed brothers for so long. And it's like, what gets into the heart? What thoughts are freaking saturating the mind where a brother will kill another brother? Now, I can say now I'm fortunate that I did not kill anybody, right? I'm very, very, very fortunate. I tried and I wanted to, right? I've wanted to more than I tried, but I definitely tried. And I wanted to. And what I know is that at that point in my life, it was no self-love. It was self-like. I liked myself, I guess, to a degree, right? I would make sure I cleaned up, make sure I looked nice, right? Make sure I ate, right? Things like that. But I didn't really love myself. I had a death wish, right? And so I didn't care if I caused another person harm. I didn't care if I ended up going to prison. And so some people will say that, right? When people do harm or think about doing harm or living in the street, they'll be like, yo, you could lose your life or you could go to prison. And it's like, I don't give a fuck, right? If I don't love myself, if I don't care about myself, who cares about prison? Who cares? Who cares if I lose my life? That may be a goal. And so it's like, God damn, what brought me out of that? What brought so many people from that space, right? And there are people who have done a lot of years in prison who transform their life and like, yo, I don't want to hurt anybody else, right? Is learning to love yourself, learning to accept yourself, right? Learning to accept yourself and all of your shortcomings, learning to uh, forgive, not so much get over, but forgive and get some kind of understanding and compassion for those who harmed you, your parents, your grandparents, right? Any spouses, any I gotta give House and my mother's number because they keep calling me. Any spouses, any situations that caused you harm, learning to accept it, right? It doesn't mean that you are unworthy. It doesn't mean anything because a lot of times the abuse that we experience as youth from our parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, the freaking all the different types of abuse that we experience, right? Verbal, physical, sexual, right? All of it causes trauma, and more often than not, it causes or it leads to self view of unworthiness, of I ain't crap, right? Like I ain't shit. Like this happened to me, I must have deserved it. And so now we begin to walk through life with that. And so when we get into again, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's sex, whatever addictive behavior it is that leads to self destruction, we don't care, right? So then when we don't care about ourselves, it's easy to not care about someone else. It's easy to cause harm to another brother or sister. It's easy to abuse your spouse, right? When you don't really love yourself. It's easy to abuse your children when you don't really love yourself. It's easy. And so it's easy to pull a trigger on another brother, on another black man. You don't fully love yourself. And the same holds true, right? Globally. We talk about these international wars. It's like you are a quote unquote leader of a nation, of a country. If you really love your people, right, you could not care about the other people, right? You could not like them because of whatever their lifestyle is, whatever. But when you send your own people to war, knowing that they could potentially lose their lives, especially like any people, but young people, teens, early 20s, and they could lose their life fighting for what? Fighting for what? Like, you don't really love them. And if you don't really love them, you don't really love yourself, right? Because when you really love yourself, that shit emanates. It's literally it's aura. It emanates outward. It vibrates outward. It radiates outward, right? Self-love, true self-love. It spreads outward, and you want everybody else to feel that love of self, right? Not even so much to love you, or you don't like loving somebody doesn't mean liking somebody, right? You could love your brother and be pissed at your brother, but it doesn't mean you want to kill your brother. You could love, right? Like you could not like a person's lifestyle. You could not like how people are engaging in their communities, right? But to want to wipe them out, to want to destroy them, to want to take their lives is like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? We are family, man. Like we literally are family. We want the same things, all of us. You have children, you want your children to grow up. You have parents, you want your parents to be safe, right? You, again, unless you really don't care about yourself, right? But even then, that's something that's caused, I like to think, right? Now, it kind of, even this question kind of hits a fine line because one thing I've said many times, and some people will say, "Oh, you a hypocrite," and I'm gonna say that freaking contradictions exist in the world, and it's okay, right? Because part of me sometimes I've said, and I say that in nature there are plants that grow that are poisonous that have never been touched by humans. They've never been modified. They've never been altered. They just grow naturally poison. Now, to them, and they're not poisonous. Like this is just how we are, right? But if you touch it, taste it, smell it, it could harm you, right? So what do? Do you cut it out and cover yourself up and throw it away, or do you just isolate it, right? It's something that I deal with in my own thoughts, right? As world healer, as someone whose mission is to make this world a better place, is to create safety, to create a healed world, right? To spread more love and more peace, right? More truth, more freedom, more justice, more liberation in this world. That is my life's mission. That is my life's work. In that, I think about these things. And so when I think about a brother who took the life of another brother, when I think about international global human warfare, it's like, damn, do all of these people have the potential to be healed? Do all of these people want to be healed? Right? Do these people have the capacity to truly love another? Right? Now, again, split. I think most, yes. Some, maybe not. Right? So then what do we do? What do we do? And it makes me think about family, right? And I remember hearing stories and seeing in movies where a family member, they put the hat on me, seeing in movies where a family member will have a mental illness and they will keep him up in the room, right? Keep him isolated, or he or she might want to just stay isolated, right? They don't want to deal with anybody because they may know that, like, yo, like, I don't want to be around people. And I think that as a human family, as a Black family, as however the small, right, Black people, right, global Black family, or the greater global human family, I think there's space for people to be by themselves, right? Like, leave me the fuck alone. I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think a lot of times we try to force, right, based on our perception, oh, you should be. But I don't want to talk to nobody. If I talk to people, they're going to get me upset. And if I get upset, I might want to do some shit, right? And as we know, everybody's process of growth, of living, right, is different. And that's okay. Differences are okay. It's okay to have a different perspective on life, right? Clearly the challenge becomes when those different perspectives lead to harm caused, lead to you causing harm or someone causing harm to someone else. Now it's like, as a community, that's when you have to step in and do something. What? I don't always I don't got all the answers, Sway. Right? Like, I don't have all the answers. And I know I don't. But I know that compassion, right? I know that grace, I know that harmony. I know that I was once someone who wanted to harm people. I was once someone who people have harmed, and I have harmed people, right? But I wanted to harm people in even worse ways. And I was once someone who people harmed, and people wanted to harm me in worse ways. And in some of those situations, feelings changed, emotions changed, perspectives changed, things changed, right? So change is possible. Transformation is possible. It is possible. But this is where certain education needs to happen, right? Like rewiring brain, reframing trauma, right? Like getting out of limiting beliefs. There are so many men, right? Like women do it too. I think a lot of women have adapted behaviors from men, right? Pure brutality, right? Pure brutality. I heard a story my mother told me yesterday. Said a 75-year-old woman she heard about asked a young lady, a teenager, to pick up her dog poop, right? And she said it was on the news. My mom watched the news all the time. Said it was, asked nicely, hey, can you pick up your dog poop? And said the young lady's friend, another young lady, ran over and started beating her up, knocked her on the floor, all types of things. 75 years old, and the girl, she was like 15. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What trauma did that young girl had to experience for her to have that kind of disgust for an elder, that kind of disdain for an elder, 75-year-old elder, old to be her grandmother, great grandmother? What are you doing? And then, right, the conversation, this is where my mother and I, it kind of gets tricky, right? Because she's like, oh, people say it's mental health, and I don't believe that, and this thing, and the judge needs to do this to them, and this needs to happen to them. And I'm like, and I hear that. I hear all of that. I hear the eye for an eye, right? But somebody said if we always go eye for an eye, we all be blind. So we all go eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, we'll be blind and toothless. And at this stage in my life, I understand that. right? As a younger person, I was like, no, like you take one of mine, I take one of yours. But then I learned that violence begets violence. And so you harm my family and I harm yours. When does it stop? Because now your family want to harm my family. Now it's going to go back and forth and back and forth. And then some people will use the excuse, well, it's been this way since the fucking beginning of time. Well, it can stop. We have the power to change things. We have the power to transform our reality by choosing different in every situation. Choose different. We spoke on SR Daily 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, about quantum branching. You have a choice, this way or this way. Either way you go, there's an outcome. If you go this way, you know what that outcome is going to lead. You know that eventually, right? Someone caused you harm, you cause harm back. Eventually, that harm is going to come back to you or to someone you love. You know that. Like we've seen that movie play out time and time and time again. Choose the fucking road less traveled, the peaceful road. I am much more Malcolm than I am Martin, right? If you want to compare. But I kind of now at 42 years old, as the person who has learned some brain science and has learned some things about other people's behaviors and why other people may behave a certain way, I part of me understands, and understands the turn the other cheek thing. Part of me gets that. And I've exhibited that in recent years where I've been threatened and I've been called names and all types of things have happened. And I've been able to, like, I told the brother yesterday I was talking to, I said, I got this energy, right? Somebody threatens me. Somebody threatened me, right? Somebody tried to fight me, right? And all of this stuff. And I hold it and I regulate nervous system and I maintain peace. But then I go home and I cry. But I would rather go home and cry and hold it and have that part of me may feel like a punk. Like I didn't do nothing. This person called me names. This person said this to me. This person was in my face. I didn't do anything. I may feel like a punk. Other people may perceive me that punk ass nigga, bitch ass nigga, right? But I'd rather hold that. I'd rather hold that energy. I'd rather hold that feelings of being a punk, of being a pussy, of being a bitch ass nigga, of being soft, right? I'd rather hold that feeling, hold that energy, go home and cry by myself, cry around my friends, cry around Kimona, cry to my mom. I'd rather cry and have that feeling than to react and express everything that's inside of me. And then something terrible happens where the feeling is still there, maybe not the feeling being a punk, but now I'm in prison. Or I'm hurt. I'm not invincible. I could also lose my life, right? A conflict happens. I'm like, my life could be lost, right? I'm not fucking invincible, and I understand that. And so it's like, but that's an example that we can choose a different path. The old me would have never accepted that shit. Talking to my face like, what? You said what? The old me, like, I've called people out the window, knocked on people's doors before, right? Like, yo, what's up? Like, that was part of who I was as a youth. I didn't give a fuck because I had a death wish, because I didn't really, right, care about if I continued on. It was like, whatever is whatever. So I show up at your door, call you out the window, I go to your hood. I'm out here, right? Clearly, we didn't have social media where you could post, yo, I'm outside, but I'm outside, yo, where's such and such at? Oh, I don't know. They ain't outside today. Where they live? Oh, come on, I ain't telling you where they live. All right, like, you got to figure that out. Right? That was me, but we don't have to be who we've always been, because if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. And so I wanted different. And why did I want different? Because a few things happened. One, I remembered the promise to my dad. Two, I didn't want my mother to get the call that I was dead, or me to call her that I was in jail for a long time for harming someone. I didn't want that to happen, right? My nephew and little brother both told me when I went to prison for 3 years, I was literally there one day, and then I was on a run, and then I was in jail. It's like, you was here one day, and then you wasn't. Like, where'd you go? And then my mother, the black folks, we lied to our young people and tell them this loved one is in school. And they're like, well, why they ain't coming to see me? Why I can't go visit them at school? I'm like, I was in jail. Like, oh, grandma, mommy told me you was in school. I'm like, I wasn't in school. I was in jail. I was in school when I was here. And when I was in school, you were seeing me, right? But I went to prison, tried to shoot some people, right? Tried to cause some harm to some people, right? Like, and then after with all of that, I remember my own dreams. I remember the dream I had as a child. The great majority of children have dreams. They have energy. They want to do something when they grow up. Along the way, they experience trauma. They get conditioned to believe that what they dream of, what they want to accomplish is not possible, is not feasible. Trauma happens. They get conditioned to think that they're not worth it, that they ain't shit, that they don't deserve shit. They ain't never going to be shit. They come from slavery. They are this and they are that. And then they act that out. That was me. I know that change is possible. I know that peace can prevail. I know that peace can prevail. I know that it takes a lot of fucking maturity. And I know it takes a perspective shift. I started to perceive, once again, Black people as family. I was raised that way, right? My dad kind of preached that, right? At 11 years old, after my dad passed, my brother took me to the Man March in D.C. I was 11. October 95. My dad just passed in August. My brother's like, yo, we going to D.C. Me, my brother, two of my nephews, and some of my brother's friends. Some of my brother's friends lived down there. I think my brother went to Howard. Yeah, so some of his friends lived in D.C. already, and a few of us drove. My nephew Kendall, my nephew Kimani from Chicago, we all went down there. And I was the youngest person down there. And it was beautiful. And it was like, yeah, right? And it was crazy because in my hood, I was clearly, you see some brotherhood in the hood, but then you see, and at that time in the early mid-90s, it was a lot of murders in the Queensbridge, right? A lot of people getting shot regularly. Guy got shot and killed right in front of my building, right? The guy's name was, not to laugh, but the name, when I heard who it was, there, go to New Jack City, his name was Nino Brown. They killed right in front of me, shot in my building, limped out my building. Guy came around the corner, stood there, shot him. Going to school the next morning, still see fragments of his brain. It's fucking insane. Fucking insane. You know each other. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Perspective shift, though. Like, this is, if we begin to see each other as brothers, as true brothers, not as enemies, not as like fake brothers, but, and again, I know some people say, well, brothers kill. No. We see each other as brothers. Like, we are the same. We are different, but the same. And if I love myself, what I want for myself, I want for my brother. I want to be successful. I want my brother to be successful. And I want my brother to be successful, even if his success is completely separate from me and mine. Right? Live your life. I want you to live long and prosper. So are we family or not? And if we are, if we, those listening, right, say that we are, how do we instill these messages, this message in our brothers and sisters in the neighborhood? How do we instill this? Right, some people will say, well, let's get back to fist fighting. I understand that's better than killing, right? But how do we get to a point where we don't even got to fight? Like, that's where I'm at in my life, right? Like, I don't even want to fight. I don't want to fight anybody. I don't want to fist fight anyone at all. I don't want to get punched in my face. I don't want to get punched. I don't want to punch anybody. I don't want any of that. None of it, right? And because that is, I've been that way for longer of my life, right? Like, than I have been this way. It's still an internal battle when things come up, right? But I remember who I want to become. I remember the world that I want to live in, the world that I want my children and my great-grandchildren and all the children that come in 50 years, 100, the world I want them to live in. And so I'm going to be the change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm starting with the man in the mirror, right? And I think that's we have to figure out how to teach this, how to instill this, right? And I believe it starts with education. All right. I believe that religion is supposed to, our spiritual systems, our religious systems is supposed to really instill this, right? It's like basic instructions before leaving Earth. These are supposed to be instructions broken down into key ways, right? Not so much allegory where certain people understand, and some don't. It's like the simplest way, break this shit down. How do we live? How are we supposed to live? What are the best ways to live to determine a desirable result in our lives? Right? I want to say folks die in fistfights. Yeah, they do. Shit, I know a brother, my little brother's aunts on his father's side, husband died in a fist fight. Fighting a guy. They were fighting like in a park. Guy hit him. He fell, hit his head on a tree. The fucking tree root, big tree root, fell, hit his head and died. Fell, hit his head and died. People who nearly died in fist fights. I was in prison on a boat in the Bronx. First boat into New York. Guy fighting, black guy, Mexican guy, they fighting over the TV. Black guy hits the Mexican guy, hits his head on the fucking corner of the metal bed frame. Right? Splits his head open. We seen that shit like, holy shit, his fucking head cracked open. He lived, right? I don't know how well he was after that, right? Clearly they took him to the hospital. They moved the other guy, right? I ended up going to Rikers Island like a month later, so I don't know how well he was after that. But I know that the other guy heard he got like a fucking 7 years added to his case. Right? I think he was facing a gun charge. He was facing like 5 years. They was offering him. Then when I heard later, he got like 7 years. On top of whatever they was giving him. If he took that 5, 7, 12 years. But it was mandatory 7 years attempted murder in prison. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, people die in fistfights, man. Like, people die in fistfights. All right, so I don't even want to fist fight anymore. It's not something I would promote. Right? Like, oh, we just need to fight it out. No, we need to talk it out. Be mature and talk. Use your fucking words. Same thing we say to children when they're crying and emotional. Calm down and use your words. Right? Well, that's something I say to children, right? Use your words. What are you trying to communicate? What do you feel right now? Right? What is happening inside of you right now? Right? Where are you? What's causing this emotion right now? Right? What's causing this emotion? Use your fucking words, man. Like, and it's okay. Like, again, you could pause. Take a minute. Pausing is fucking essential. Take a moment. Yo, I feel like, right? I feel like, and it's so important. Keep it on the fucking eye. Now, yo, you did. All right. I feel like you try to, right? I feel like, because a lot of times it be misunderstandings. A lot of the beefs and shit that has just misunderstandings. But there's not one beef that I know of, right? That I know of. And I could be forgetting some. There's a lot of beef. I know a lot of situations where lives were taken. But the ones that I could come to my mind right now, none of them were worth any of it. None of them were worth life being taken. At best, it could have been a fight. At best. At worst, rather, it could have just been a fight, right? I understand that. I understand people. It could have just been, clearly, I've had fights, right? A lot of them. It could have just been that. But it also could have been, because these were people who knew each other, right? These are people who knew each other to some degree. To some degree, these are people who knew each other. Could have been talked about. Could have been some kind of other retribution, right? It didn't have to be a life being taken. It could have been like, yo, like, you owe, and this is what you got to do, right? Like, you got to do community service, right? You got to, like, come and contribute to my family in this way. You got to go to this community and do this community service. Like, I understand the concept of community service, but this is why we have to institute a new system, right? New justice system, right? The justice system is an injustice system. And a lot of how we think is rooted in that, right? Justice in that way. But there is becoming more prevalent now, right? Restorative justice. Restorative justice is a real thing, right? And it's happening. It's happening in different situations, different cities and states, different organizations, right? Different families, different groups of people, right? And even some of the carceral justice system is, to some degree, starting to institute, right, some kind of restorative justice, where someone caused someone else harm, someone harmed someone else, someone took another life, and the families are coming together with the person who caused the harm, right? If the other person life is, if they're still alive, then talking. Yo, what happened? Like, why did you do what you did? Why did you make that decision? Do you know how that decision has impacted my life? And something that Brother Javon said, sacred disciple from All Kings, right? He said when we interviewed him at Echoes, he said that because he does a lot of those restorative circles. He said that um, it was a car crash. Someone took someone's life. Someone drunk driving took someone's life. He said in a family, right? He said this happens in many situations that he said in where they just want, well, the family wants to know what happened, right? They want to make sure that you never do it again. And the person who caused the harm be holding that, and they just like, yo, I want you to know that I've been wanting to harm myself because I know the pain that I caused you. And I don't know like how you feel internally, but I know that I caused you great pain. And I think about this shit every day of my life. And I think that that's very real. And so like in the moment, we're humans, right? And everybody don't got the tools, right? Everybody don't got the tools. This is why we need fucking Neurosoul Liberation University. This is why we need the whole vibe and juicy. We need this whole world healing system. We need this shit desperately. But everybody don't got the tools, but everybody needs the tools because emotions are real. They rise and people act without thinking, right? Moment happens, heat of the moment, you act without thinking about your own life, about the life of another. You don't have sequential thinking, consequential thinking. You're not thinking about what happens after this. You're just thinking about how you feel. You need to get that shit out. But then afterwards, so many people have regrets. So many people wish they acted differently. So many people wish that they did something different. They wish they could have walked away or talked about it all when they're in prison for 30 years, 20 years, 25 years, 15 years, right? They think about that shit. It's like, damn. And I think that's the majority of people. I know a lot of people I know who have done crazy things. Years later, they think of that like, damn, I wish I would have did that shit. I wish I would have made a fucking different decision because I lost so many years of my life. So many years of my life was lost, right? I miss my children grow up. I miss my grandchildren grow up, right? My freaking parent died while I was in here. Siblings died while I was in here. Spouse died while I was in here. A child died while I was in here. So many situations of people who made tough decisions and ended up being in prison for a long time and lost a lot while they was intact, right? And so again, it begs the question: self, like, do we love ourselves, and are we fucking family or not? And if we are family, how does family behave? And the crazy thing about that, and this is why we need the fucking education, because families are fighting. And I don't fuck with that person, and I don't fuck with that person. And mind you, again, you don't gotta like everybody. Like, I have a sibling who I don't really deal with. If something happened to her, I would absolutely beat it for her in a heartbeat. The like part is not there. I love her dearly. I love her dearly. I think she's a beautiful woman. I think she's a great woman. We just have our differences. I would love to, right? Your life is being flagged for violent and criminal behavior. Oh my goodness. And they madly, oh, your life contains things that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Reason, violent and criminal behavior. Yo. TikTok is a funny place, right? But my sister, I love my sister. I love my sister. I don't like her. I would love to, at some point in this lifetime, be able to really, really, really vibe with her. Right. I've tried. I've made many, many, many attempts. Right. And at times I thought it was going well, and then it was a hiccup. Right. And it was like, oh, so you was fronting. Right. So you don't gotta like every person that's in your family, but to cause them harm, to wish them harm, is a different level of I don't give a fuck. Right. I really don't give a fuck. And what I like to say, I've been saying this for years. Again, understanding the energy, that no energy escapes the universe. What you put out comes back. Understanding, overstating, and understanding what you think about others will be thought of you. Right? What you think about others, what you speak of others will be spoken of and thought of you. So if you think about harm, other people being harmed, if you think about other people not being crap or shit, there's going to be thought of you. And the reality is that what goes around comes around, right? What you put out comes back. It doesn't always come back directly to you personally. It can come back to your children, right? Come back to your spouse. Come back, like, you put some bad energy out, All of a sudden, your loved one develops cancer. You don't know what the fuck happened. Your loved one gets a heart attack, car accident, car crash, all types of things. Like, I told my mother yesterday, I do my best to put out as much positive energy as possible. I don't know how any low vibrational thought could come back. I have no idea. And I put it out because that's who I am now, right? Positive person. And I also put it out consciously because I'm like, again, even when heavy emotions arise, right? I may be like, yo, I feel like this. And then immediately I try to regulate my nervous system and say that's not really what I want, right? This family situation arises and I'm like, I want to do this. I'm like, no, actually, that's not what I want to do. I just want to communicate. I want to talk. I would love to have a loving relationship with this sister, with this brother. I would love to be able to laugh and joke, right? And I can't wait till this shit is behind us and we can laugh and joke. That is my deepest desire, is to really have peace on earth. That is my deepest desire in my lifetime, is to manifest a healed world where we can love each other, even though we don't like each other, where we can still laugh, joke, break bread, eat food, and learn to get along, right? Like the saying, can we all just get along? And I think, as tough as it is, with all of the differences, to some degree we can. We could be cordial at least, right? We don't got to harm each other when we see each other. It don't got to be on site, right? It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be like, too many situations, right? That has shown me that we have lost this concept of being family, of Black people being family, right? And again, it's all types of sayings, or skin folk and kinfolk. All skin folk and kinfolk. Everybody who look like you ain't like you, and they don't got your best interest at heart. And part of it for me is that I understand zeitgeist, right? The sign of the times. I understand that we are in what is called Kali Yuga. We are in a dark age. It's going to get darker. But when it gets darker, the darker it gets, the more the individuals who will consider themselves light bearers have to fucking shine, right? And have to push this message even more. This message of love and peace, right? Because truth, freedom, and justice comes, but yeah, it's all connected, right? But love and peace and love. I love how our Islamic brothers, our Muslim brothers and sisters greet Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon you. Greet in peace and leave in peace, right? Come together in peace and leave in peace. Because what I want for myself, I want for my brother and my sister. And if I want to walk in peace, if I want my family to live in peace and to live harmoniously on this planet, then I have to put that energy out. I have to then walk as we are family, even when a brother is threatening me, even when a sister is causing harm to people who I love dearly. I have to still walk, and we are still family. And do my part, right? My part, swallow my fucking pride, let go of who I've always been and who I used to be and how I used to be, and be the change I want to see in the world. If I want to see a peaceful world, if I want to see people live and grow and learn to forgive and understand and have compassion and grace, then it starts with me. It starts with you. The change starts with you. It starts with the fucking man and the woman in the mirror. How are you exhibiting the life, the qualities, the principles that you say should exist in the world? This person, we need more peace, and then you go and you're talking about how you want to fight this person. I'll never forget, I told the story here before. Sister loses her brother to murder. Loses her brother to murder to a very small situation. Very small situation. We were all heartbroken, mad at the brother because he did some dumb shit. And the guy who took his life was like, oh. But she loses her brother. 2-3 weeks later, online, talking about how she gonna get her man to cause harm to this other person. And it's like, what are we doing? Like how don't we understand that? Again, we don't have the education, so I know how we don't, but goddamn, we have to understand. I'll never forget one of the most emotional moments. I used to work with Life Camp, and we used to do mock funerals at high school assemblies, right? This is 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, about that time, right? We're doing mock funerals, like bringing the casket out and everything. Right? Young people are crying. I'll never forget, bring the casket out one time. I was waving the life flag, right? I love my life. People carrying the casket. And Erica Ford, the executive director, founder, right? Many of you have seen her, know or heard her name. She's been all over the place, right? Got a day named after her in New York City, and her birthday, April 8th, right? Happy belated birthday. Erica Ford was named in New York City as Erica Ford Day. Freaking in Oprah magazine, like got a book, The Peace Doctor, right? She came down the assembly aisle, right, the auditorium aisle, reading a poem that she wrote called "Don't Cry for Me," because subconsciously you killed me, and that shit hit so hard, so hard. Don't cry for me, because the young people are crying, right? Their friends killed, right now. Again, their friends wasn't in that casket; it was mock casket, mock funeral, empty casket. But some of these young people in high school have been to funerals already. That's why we would do the mock funeral at certain high schools, because there was high schools where there was a lot of violence and where some young people had lost their lives, right, because of beef, right? And so we would show up, we would talk, we would do a concert, we would have Q&A, and we would do all of the things, right? Young people are crying. Their friend is dead. But they're also at the same time listening to the music about shoot, 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 shoot. Right? In Queensbridge, brother of mine lost his life in Astoria, killed. Same night, right? Hey, what happens? We all outside, we drinking and smoking and we crying and talking, and his stepson, teenager, is listening to the trap music. And now, mind you, this is when I was just really coming back to hang out in Queensbridge like that. Like I was always going there, but again, my life was different, so I really wasn't around that much. Like I would come and I would go. But I started to hang around more because like more of my friends started to die, right? I'm like, no, I need to be around more. Like my friends need this positive energy. I need that energy. I need to like connect, right? Stay connected to my childhood friends. And so I wasn't hanging around these young people like that, right? For a while, young people I was hanging around, my nephew, my nieces, little cousins, all right? Listen, their lifestyle is different. They're not in the streets, right? So like, yeah, just different. I'm hanging around my peoples, and the stepson, the son, a couple of other younger people are there. They listen to this trap music, and it's all shoot, 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 shoot. And I'm like, I'm looking at my friends. I'm like, y'all not gonna say anything? Like, yo, he just lost his life. And this is the mentality. Like, so yo, cut that shit off. Come on, Sugar Ray. Like, what? No, change that shit. Might want to hear that shit, right? Nobody wants to hear that shit, and it makes me think of a line, right? Like again, I think about this shit. Like energy we put out comes back. Dear brother, King Shooter, dear brother from Queensbridge, passed at 27 years old, liver failure. Right? Dear brother. He said in the bar, he said, when I catch him, I'm gonna kill him. I don't care who he with. Right? He had beef. Right? People shot him up, shot him in his face. Right? He shot in his neck. Right? He said that line. He passed. A year later, his dear brother, Pick, passed. Our dear brother, my dear brother, Pick passed. Pick was shot and killed by someone who he knew while in a car with a girl he was hanging with on Mother's Day. The line, when I catch him, I'm going to kill him. I don't care who he with. I'm sure that mentality was in the other brother's mind. When I catch him, I don't care who he with, he getting it. Exactly what happened. On the main strip, 40th Avenue, in front of a store, sitting there in the car, Mother's Day. So are we family or not? Mona says, some folks do not have the vocabulary to express themselves. That's a fact. Said, they cut my live off. Live access removed. 4:15 will be restored, so I can't even go live tomorrow. 3 days. It's crazy. Violation clip. That was 10 minutes ago. Violated. Crazy. Appeal. Yes. Notice unclear. No, my live does not contain the it does. Things like should allow content like mine. Not taking the decision, but the restriction. Yeah. All right, we're gonna do that in a second. But we're gonna get into meditation, man, right? But yeah, let us figure out, right, as a family, how do we remind our people that we are family and that families do beef, families do fight, right? Families do have disagreements, but family don't kill family. Family doesn't harm family in this way, right? Family can communicate, family can forgive, family can understand, and family is supposed to have compassion and grace for each other. So let us collectively figure that out and push that message, right? Of us being family, of as Black people, but also as humans, right? As humans. So let's get into meditation. All right, I'm gonna pair this TikTok band and see what happens. If you are laying, sitting, get in a comfortable position. Allow your back to be straightened. Allow your arms to rest gently in your lap or by your side. Allow your head to lean forward so that your chin is in your chest. Allow your eyes to close ever so softly. And simply become aware of your breath. As your breathing begins to settle at a steady pace, remember all of the people who you love, your children, your siblings, your spouses, people who have multiple spouses, parents, friends, colleagues, co-workers, students, educators, anyone who you love, who you are connected to. Bring their faces, bring their energy into your space, and send them positive vibes. Send them some love. You can be very specific if you have a loved one who is dealing with some situations. Let them know that it's okay to talk. Let them know that it's okay to communicate. Let them know that it's okay to squash beefs. Let them know that life is precious. In this life, we only get one. So to cherish it, to enjoy it, to live it as peacefully and as fully as possible. Send them that guidance, send them that message. And let them know that it's okay to be angry, it is okay to be frustrated, it's okay to be upset, it is okay to feel hurt, it is okay to have the want to do something drastic. And it is also okay to regulate your nervous system. It is also okay to calm down. It is also okay to choose a different path, to choose the road less traveled, which is the road of peace, of forgiveness, of compassion, of understanding, of letting go, and of walking away. To let them know that they do not have to succumb to any peer pressure, whether directly or indirectly. They do not have to succumb to societal standards of this happens, so you have to do this. They can choose their own path and they can choose their own reality, their own fate. Breathe into that. Know that you are loved. Know that you are cherished. Know that you are sacred and you are adored. You are stronger than you think. You are more powerful than you know. And you are greater than you could ever imagine. I love you. I love you. I love you. Ashe. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining me on this Sunday. Since we said brothers say pause when their sexuality is questioned. Why not when the idea of disrespect is assumed? Yeah, man. Got a lot of work to do. But I believe that we could do it together. Together we rise. Together we heal. Together we shine. Together we thrive. The only way forward is together. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You'll be on tonight. See you tonight on YouTube. Streaming day 30, right? Day 30 or 50. We are way more than halfway there now. We are almost there. We at the first milestone. We did 30 days back in 2023. So we're at that milestone now. 40 days coming up. So 10 more days to 40. And then 10 more days after that, and we're done. We got a packed week coming up. Beautiful week in terms of weather. A couple of things to take care of this week. So I'm looking forward to the week. Day by day, but getting to the end of the week. So we'll be past some things. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Please walk with peace in your heart. Teach the seeds, right? Teach the siblings, teach the people you come across that love always prevails and it's okay to be peaceful. Have a great Sunday. And I'll see you guys later. If not, I'll see you guys next week or I'll see you guys during the week on SR Daily. Peace and love.